Ho, 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 it's horror, guys.
You know, there's nothing.
That was hard to say.
Nothing to put you in the holiday spirit like some good beheadings and disembowelings and choppings and chasings and all the good horror things.
We've watched a bunch of Christmas horror movie by this point, and a lot of beheadings in these things.
There have been a lot of beheadings. That seems to be a
abnormal
thing.
number of beheadings.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is issue 310 of Horror Weekly by the Horror Guys. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And what do we have this month? This week?
We have Christmas movies.
Yay!
Oh, you mean specifically?
Specifically, what do we got?
Okay. Well, we are starting out with 2022's Violent Night.
Which was not what either of us expected.
No, it was not. Yeah, I hadn't. I don't know. It kind of slipped under my radar.
I'm trying to go into most of these as blind as possible.
Yeah, me too. And we had a lot of fun with Sleigh Bells from 2018, and we get all paranoid with It Cuts Deep from 2020, and an anthology, 2019's Deathcember. And then we're going to go shopping. What could be more fun than Christmas shopping, right? Well, While She Was Out from 2008. And she does not have a good time Christmas shopping.
No one ever does, but she has a worse time than
she
most.
Especially has a very bad time.
Okay, and last week we talked about Smile 2, which we both really liked quite a lot.
I liked that better than the first one.
We're running a little late this week, but we've got 5 copies of this movie to give away. These are online redeemed through... Oh, I didn't even look to see who they're through.
Digital copies.
Digital copies, yes.
Very easy to play on any device.
Yeah.
And they're available for 5 lucky people.
And I've got to read this because it's the requirements.
Okay.
Bring home Smile 2 on digital now. In this terrifying thriller, an unknown force has latched onto global pop star Sky Riley as reality and her nightmares collide. By the film critics... are calling the scariest movie of the year by a mile. And get over 40 minutes of bone-chilling extras. Hey, we didn't see those.
We didn't see about 40 minutes of bone-chilling extras.
We didn't get a free giveaway.
We chipped.
Including deleted scenes and more. Available at participating retailers. Rated R from Paramount Pictures. And there's one little trick to finding out who wins this prize.
And what is that?
You got to follow us on Blue Sky.
Okay.
It's the new Twitter replacement that everybody's signing up for.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on there. It's a long stinking string, so it's horrorguys.bsky.social. But there's a link in the show notes. There's a link in the newsletter. Follow it. Follow us. And the first 5 people gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the first 5 people want it. If not, then maybe it's 6 or 7 will get it. I don't know.
They get to smile.
Smile
2. Yeah, that was a good one. We really recommend that one.
Yeah. All right. And, of course, we have 5 excellent shorts for you this week. We shorted everybody on shorts last week, but we're doing it this week.
Mm-hmm.
But the shorts are not particularly holiday-themed. All the big movies this month are going to be Christmas or holidays. But the shorts... I think if we probably could find 30 short films that are Christmas-related, but I bet they wouldn't be very good.
Well, maybe. Some are, some not.
And the latest issue of Horror Monthly went on sale today. Issue number 39. And it's really good. It's got 43 stories, plus 43 reviews, plus a story by moi.
By Brian?
Yeah.
Did you know that Brian writes fiction?
Everybody writes fiction.
Well, we write short stories, and we've started including one in each issue.
Just pop over to horrormonthly.com, and there's a link there to pick it up wherever you like to buy your ebooks or your paperback books or whatever you want.
Wherever fine books are sold.
Well, okay, so we've got a horrorguys.bsky.social Blue Sky page. I'm looking at it right now. There's 1 follower and 1 following.
Okay.
And I'll bet those are both my personal account.
Oh, my.
So it's a brand new, empty Blue Sky social account.
See, I didn't even know about it. That's how new it is.
Are you even signed up for Blue Sky?
No.
You are such a slacker.
Yeah, I am. Someday soon.
Yeah. Well, it's new. We're going to try it out. We'll give it a shot. But first, we should watch a movie.
We should watch 2022's Violent Night.
That sounds like a song. It could be a song.
It was directed by Tommy Wirkola, written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller, stars David Harbour, John Leguizamo.
I see now you got me saying it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, the clown from Spawn.
Yeah.
And many other things.
And Beverly D'Angelo. Runtime is an hour and 52 minutes, and there's a trailer on YouTube.
Yeah. And I'd say going into this, I thought it was going to be, a crazy Santa like Silent Night. He's going to go and come in and kill everybody.
See, and what I thought was that it was going to be, and they play a lot of tributes to Die Hard, I thought it was going to be a guy trapped in a situation like, in Die Hard.
Santa Claus.
Or an ex-military guy or something who's trapped in the situation and he has to save the day, when terrorists take over, and take a bunch of hostages. Which is
There's a little bit of that in here.
There's a little bit of that in here.
But it's more, I thought it was...
But I thought it was just going to be a guy.
Uh-huh.
It's the real Santa Claus.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's the real Santa.
If I was going to get any kind of vibe from this movie, I'd say it's similar to, believe it or not, Home Alone.
A little bit, yeah. There's some of that in there.
It's a very similar aesthetic and everything.
And Die Hard, there's some tributes to various things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the real Santa. That completely caught me off guard. I didn't realize he was literally.
Well, it's Christmas Eve in Bristol, England. Is there a Bristol anywhere else? I don't know. A man in a Santa suit sits in a bar and gets plastered. Another man says it's his 4th year as a Santa, but the first guy mentions he's been doing it so long he's forgotten why he even started. Santa complains about greedy children who demand everything. Maybe this is my last year, my last Christmas. And he leaves a present for the bartender's grandson and goes up to the roof. She follows him and sees him take off in his sleigh. He was the real Santa. As he flies over, he pukes all over her head. Credits roll.
Yuck.
All right, so we're not going to be too serious here, it doesn't sound like.
No, not really.
Jason, Linda, and Trudy get in the car to go see Grandma for Christmas. At the big house, all the servants rush to get everything ready.
This is a very rich family.
Oh, yeah, they are. Jason introduces all the side characters to Linda. There's Bert, Mike, Alva, and Mother Gertrude. Well, then we cut to Santa, who's extremely drunk and just going through the motions, giving lots of cash and video games and not much else.
That's all kids want these days.
Forget the kids. That's about all I get. When Trudy mentions that Jason didn't take her to the mall to talk to Santa, Jason hands her a walkie-talkie that she can use to talk to Santa later. All she wants for Christmas is for Linda and Jason to make up and get back together again. So they're splitting up.
Little family drama there.
Night falls, and Santa arrives to eat his cookies and bourbon. Meanwhile, someone knocks out the security guard and alerts certain members of the staff, who all arm up and get ready for something. "It's time to steal Christmas," says the leader, whose code name is Mr. Scrooge. Everyone else has Christmassy-sounding code names, too.
John Leguizamo is the bad guy in this one.
Mr. Scrooge, yes.
Mr. Scrooge.
Santa hears shooting outside as the invaders kill all the good staff and guards. He soon sees what's going on and hides, but he has no way out either. The gunfire scares away the reindeer, so he is stuck in this house. He manages to kill one of the baddies, but he gets locked outside in the process. Inside, Scrooge takes Gertrude and the whole family hostage. Santa looks in and sees how scared little Trudy is, and he has a change of heart. Scrooge points out that there's $300 million in the safe downstairs that she stole from the government. And he seems to know a lot about everything.
Yeah, he does.
Santa looks for weapons in his endless bottomless bag, but all he's got are video games and gift cards. And we're going to stop there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun because he's burned out and drunk and, been doing this for too long and getting disillusioned.
But he's Santa and he's got magic.
But he's Santa and he's got some magic, yeah. So it's interesting because he's got powers, but he's not omnipotent or all-powerful or anything in this. And so, especially early on.
He's as stuck as everyone else
Yeah,
is.
Especially early on before he gets his mojo back,
Yeah.
So I thought that was fun, how they worked in the Christmas magic stuff.
Yeah. Well, we both basically, I expected Santa to be a murderer, a monster, and you expected him to be a burnt-out department store guy, which was closer to the truth.
Yeah, like just a guy, not actual Santa, yeah.
But the Santa is surprisingly lovable as a burned-out, drunken old Viking. He's ultra-violent when it's time, but he's also very good with Trudy on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very good with the little kids. It was I lost my place. It was surprisingly good. It took a while to get going, but once it did, it was nonstop action. And some of the kills were really creative. If you're wondering why this is a horror movie,
very
oh yeah, it is.
Oh, it's got a body count. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I like this one. I thought David Harbour was perfect in that role.
Yeah, he was very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's a toss-up with which one's my favorite of the week. This next one...
I'm going with the next one as my favorite.
And this is a low-budget crap movie, but we both just loved it so much.
Well, not crap movie. It obviously wasn't crap because we were so entertained.
All right, yeah. It looks like a low-budget indie
It
movie.
has the look of a low-budget indie. Yeah.
It's 2018's Sleigh Bells. And, of course, that's sleigh like S-L-A-Y, and bells with 2 E's because it's a bunch of girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pun.
A trio of girls.
Directed by Dan Walker. Written by Jessica Lurson and Dan Walker. Stars Barry Bostwick.
Now, that's somebody I haven't seen around in a while.
He
Barry
does
Bostwick.
things, just not a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
Christina Klebb and Susan Slaughter. Hour and 17 minutes. Trailer in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember right, I think this was on Tubi.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was, yeah.
Spoiler-free, what happens?
Well, when 3 women go exploring the closed Santaland amusement park for their YouTube channel, they don't expect to run into the literal Santa, or Krampus, or any of the real craziness that unrolls from there. So neither of us went into this expecting to enjoy it as much as we did.
I mean, the first 10 minutes looks cheap. It looks
terrific.
very indie. And it's like, oh no, we're going to have to sit through another one of these.
But it was
great.
It was so good, yeah.
It's Christmas Eve, and 3 women with brightly colored hair have a man tied to a chair. We then cut to 12 hours earlier, where the 3 women steal Christmas decorations and then decide to go on an adventure. 2 of the women, Sadie and Dahlia, run a YouTube channel called The Adventure Girls. Alexia hasn't seen any of their Urban Explorer videos, but she's going with them this time. I'm a big fan. I've never seen any of your stuff.
Right. But they're friends, so.
Well, they stop at a bar to pee and have a drink while they're waiting. The people inside the bar are very anti-Christmas. It's bullshit, yells the bartender. And she's got, you know how people tattoo their fingers?
Yeah, she's got she's got F-U-C-K, Xmas on her knuckles.
That's devotion.
Yeah, and she, I loved the bartender. Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Ranger Sean comes in to arrest Jerry, a drunken pedophile dressed as Santa. He says some odd things have been going on around town. Some kids have been murdered. He's a ranger helping to fill in with the police. Well, the 3 girls go to an abandoned theme amusement park called Santaland for their next video. Dahlia and Sadie hand Alexi her Christmas uniform, which lets us all get to see that they have boobies. They get undressed for the camera.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
We get a montage of the girls doing silly YouTube poses as they run through the park. The place had been closed for 20 years since some kids did die there. All 3 of them feel like they're being watched as they frolic through the park.
And they are.
At the sheriff's station, the men talk about a family that was recently killed. It's supposed to be a bear that did it, but the bear must have had anger issues or something, because it was excessive. Well, the 3 girls break into a prize cache and take their souvenirs. Then they spot a building they haven't gone into before. As they dig around inside, Krampus shows up outside. When one of the girls' phones goes off, Krampus chases them outside until the security guard tackles him. They run for their van, but it's been towed, so they call 911. The call doesn't go well, since the operator thinks it's a prank call. Suddenly, the security guard pops in through the chimney. Is he Santa Claus or just a hillbilly? Okay, we'll stop there.
Turns out he does have some
He
Christmas
can be both.
magic. Yeah, why not be both?
Yeah, I got a quote here. Santa Claus is coming to town, bitches. Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Says Hillbilly Santa. It's got a very goofy and cheap indie vibe to it, but it's really well done, and not as low budget as it might appear. The acting and dialogue are pretty awful, but it's the kind of awful acting that really goes with the mood of the film. It was one of those ones where they kind of lean into it. This was Richard Bull's final film, but here he just plays one of the cops. And he was all kinds of villains in the 80s. Probably best known for playing Bull in Night Court, the original one.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was him.
You didn't recognize him, did you?
I forgot he was Bull in Night Court.
He's old.
He's an old guy.
Well, he's dead now.
Well, okay, he was an old guy here, yeah.
And anyway, we thought it looked pretty bad when it got started, but we both really liked it. And I would say just stick with it. It gets better.
And, yeah, best of the week.
I think it's the best of the week, yes.
Yeah.
I really liked Violent Night. But this, I'm going to say, just because it was so surprising, I'm going to give it the thumbs up.
And the villain is not who I expected it to be. that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil it. But, yeah, I loved that. Yeah, and I thought Krampus looked good. The Krampus outfit. You can obviously tell it's a guy in a hairy costume.
Initially, he looked really good, but the more we saw of him, the more rubbery he got. Yeah, but yeah, he was well done.
I thought it looked good consistently. Yeah. Anyway, I liked it.
Which takes us to our next film, 2020. It Cuts Deep. Written by Nicholas Santos, stars Charles Gould, Quinn Jackson, and John Anderson. 1 hour, 17 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. All right, and well, for such a short runtime, this one managed to feel too long.
It was only 1 hour and 17 minutes.
The two main guys did not work for us. We both thought Quinn Jackson as the girlfriend was fine, but the whole package was low on horror and very tedious. We didn't have a good time and wouldn't recommend it. This is very possibly going to be... It's only the first week of December.
It's early. Don't say.
This is very possibly the worst thing we're going to watch this month. Yeah. I hated this with a passion.
Just didn't dig it. Yeah. Wasn't entertained. Yeah. Kind of bored. I
just wanted to slap the main character repeatedly throughout the movie. I was hoping he'd die in the first 5 minutes, and he's the main freaking character.
No, he's the main guy. Yeah.
All right, well, tell us about it. Tell us about this stinking pile of garbage.
A boy shows up at a girl's house in a Santa hat. She wants him to come inside for sexy reasons. Well, then a man with a knife follows them inside and kills them both. And they aren't children; they're young people.
Teenagers,
young man, young woman. Yeah. Well, then we cut to Sam and Ashley eating something kind of gross in the park. They talk about going somewhere an hour away, and she wants to talk about marriage and stuff, meaning children. But he's jokey and evasive. We flash back to see that Sam doesn't really do well with children, and the credits roll. Well, the couple is going to Sam's childhood home in the country, and Ashley complains that there's no cell signal.
That never happens.
He cooks her kind of a horrific meal, but he swears it's okay. She accepts Sam's marriage proposal, but he says that that's not what he intended. She totally thinks he's proposing, and
I accept.
No, that's not what I'm doing. No. Well, that's disappointing. In the morning, he looks through an old photo book, and she goes out for a run. He's still evasive about marriage and kids while they go out for breakfast. One of Sam's friends, Nolan, shows up coincidentally, and she notices right away that he's way better looking than Sam, and funny that Sam never mentioned him before.
This is sounding an awful lot like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
With a whole lot of extra angst.
Yeah. Well, they bump into him again a little later, and Nolan has a baby daughter and a wife. Sam doesn't like babies. We get that again. Nolan invites them both to dinner, but his wife Lauren points out that they have other plans. Well, later Nolan just shows up at their door and says plans are changed. So he's there for dinner now.
Did he kill his wife? We don't know.
Yeah. Lauren couldn't make it. It's all very awkward since it's clear that Sam doesn't want Nolan there. So you're getting lots of horror movie vibes here, right?
Nolan is kind of creepy about this whole thing. He's forcing himself right into stuff.
Okay, he's kind of creepy. And there was a murder at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nolan talks about the murders that took place 10 years ago. That was his sister who was killed in the pre-credit sequence. He starts to cry, and Ashley consoles him.
And it's so clear that he's putting this on just for her benefit.
Yeah. Later, he dresses as Santa and makes Ashley sit on his lap, but that's too much for Ashley. Sam tells Nolan to leave. And Nolan admits his whole plan is to win Ashley away from Sam. Or maybe he's just kidding.
You'll never know because you probably are asleep by this point.
We should stop there.
This is way up the list as a contender for the worst movie we've seen this month, and it's got a lot of stiff competition. We've got some stinkers in already. Not so much this week, but we'll get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Sam is annoying and obnoxious from the very first scene, and it's never quite clear what Ashley sees in him in the first place. I was certainly hoping he'd die early. It also seemed unlikely, since he's the star of the film. After a while, we suspected that maybe Sam was the killer 10 years ago, but honestly, maybe we didn't care by that point. Ashley is fine, her actress made her seem normal enough, but the two male leads are so over-the-top caricatures of real people. True, one of them may be a killer, but they were both just poorly acted.
No, I don't know if it was that. I don't know, just the whole package didn't work. But anyway, I couldn't connect.
You don't think it was the acting?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Sam is just one of the least likable characters we've run into maybe ever. He's just...
I couldn't connect or sympathize with him.
He's not evil. He doesn't come out... He's just hopelessly... Yeah.
Quinn Jackson was believable.
Yeah, she was fine.
As Ashley.
Uh-huh.
Definitely a bright spot in the movie. But, yeah, I didn't like this one very much.
Deathcember from 2019. Directed by Laser Badrozum, B.J. Colangelo, and John Cook Lynch. And I suspect a couple dozen other people, too, because it's an anthology.
And many directors and writers. Yeah.
Written by Wes Allen, John Cook Lynch, Steve DeRuver, and a cast of thousands.
Yeah.
Stars Barbara Crampton, Clark Wolfe, and Tiffany Shepis. And Barbara Crampton is the only star's name I saw listed that I actually recognize. And she was in for about a minute, I think, in one of the segments.
Not much.
So it's one of those Eric Roberts type situations.
Yeah. But anyway, lots of writers, directors, stars in this.
Why so many? Because it's 2 hours and 25 minutes long.
Egad.
And that is our complaint with this one, I think.
It's
an anthology.
I was exhausted by the end of this one.
Yeah, there's just too much.
Yeah.
They tried to do an advent calendar thing where there was 24 or 25 short films.
25 of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Themed, and it corresponded to the date, too, a lot of them did.
Mm-hmm.
So as they got closer to Christmas and then, actual Christmas in the shorts, which was a clever idea.
Short films are fine. We love short films, but 25 of them in one sitting.
In one setting.
Oh, please be done. It's only up to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mixed bag. It's got good and it's bad, like all anthologies do. My problem with this is it's just too doggone long.
Yeah, I thought all the stories were at least good.
Maybe
and
watch
some
it in
were
two
very
sittings.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, you break it in the middle.
Yeah, that's probably what we should have done. I think we would have enjoyed it more. If you're a fan of horror shorts, you might want to check this one out.
Slowly. Watch it as an advent calendar. Watch one a day.
Yeah, sip it.
I don't know. We watched it on streaming somewhere, but maybe then the DVD, they got it broken up in chapters, and you could actually do that.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, anyway, we're not going to go into the usual detailed specifics at this time, but we open on a cemetery with credits on the headstones and the theme music. Did it sound to you like this was ripped straight out of Harry Potter?
Very reminiscent of Harry Potter.
Very reminiscent.
Uh-huh.
Well, we cut straight to the first story, A Door Too Far, where a boy eats his entire advent calendar in one sitting and then starts another. So right away we're getting this advent calendar in. He goes to a shop in town and starts eating more calendars right there in the shop. An old man in the shop sees this and curses him. Candelarium Maleficarum. Oh, there's a...
Right out of Harry Potter
thing again.
Yeah.
Later, the boy wakes up in an advent calendar, and a little girl eats him.
Ew.
Okay, so that was like maybe 3 or 4 minutes. It was short.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is called All Sales Fatal, where a woman cuts in line at the store to return a gift that her son isn't interested in anymore. She doesn't have the receipt, and the clerk doesn't allow the return. She goes outside, grabs the bell ringer's bell, and whacks the clerk with it. This results in a bloody knockdown drag-out fight between the two. As they lay dying, she finally finds that receipt.
Another fun shopping story.
The third story, Aurora, takes place in the year 2389 on Proxima Centauri. We hear that the big celebration holiday is coming over the floating houses. Aurora hears that there's a burst of seeds is clogging one of the pipes. It's up to her to fix it. Contamination is spreading, and one of the floating buildings crashes to the ground and she dies. I must say, of all the segments, I didn't understand this one.
I think of that one I understood the least.
All right,
It was
okay.
cool visually. It was
Oh, very nice looking, yeah.
yeah, very impressive. The story was, huh? It made me say, huh?
There was a mention of a holiday.
Yeah. But
That's only 15 minutes in. All the stories are short and Christmas themed somehow. Many of them are just creepy themed jokes, but that's all right too. But the variety was nice.
yeah, that gives you some idea of the variety.
Yeah. All right. Well, in terms of quantity, it's similar to the ABCs of Death, and mostly the same quality. What did they have? 26 letters in the alphabet, but those were much shorter in most cases.
I think they were.
It was not a 2.5-hour movie.
That wasn't 2.5 hours.
If you like short films, there's a lot to hear to like. Naturally, some are better than others, and there are a few gems here. There's a mix of English, foreign subtitled, and even animated stuff here, so there's something to please or annoy everyone. There's even a black and white silent film, The Hunchback.
Mm-hmm.
The real downside here is that there's too many stories and it drags on for too long. It really started to feel like a slog at about the 2-hour point. It would have been better with a dozen stories and an hour less runtime.
Or split it up. Yeah.
Yeah, do the 12 Days of Christmas. You don't need to do a whole freaking advent calendar.
Yeah. So some are grim and some are funny. The variety is there.
If you like anthologies and you're willing to break it up a little bit, it's pretty good. I wouldn't recommend sitting through that whole thing. All right. Well, someone else who didn't want to be through the whole thing was this woman who went shopping in While She Was Out from 2008. Directed by Susan Montford, written by Edward Bryant and Susan Montford, stars. Would you say she looks like Kim Basinger?
Yeah. Because
About 5 minutes in, he says, she looks a lot like Kim Basinger.
Yeah. And
there's a reason
there's
for
a reason
that.
she looks like Kim Basinger, because it is Kim Basinger.
It's also got Lucas Haas and Craig Sheffer, hour and 26 minutes. Spoiler free.
I'm getting there. This seemed more like a thriller than horror, but it was still pretty good.
If you thought Eden Lake was horror, this is too.
Okay.
It's kind of the same thing in a different setting.
Yeah, it's real people doing bad things. Yeah. There was a little bit of lack of depth to the characters, but it moves well with a strong cast and good direction. Not a lot new here, but we liked it.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
We see various children's drawings as credits roll. We open on Kenneth, who argues with someone on the phone about bad investments. He goes into the messy house and yells for Della. He wants to know what she does all day long because there's kids' toys and clothes all over the floor that he pays for. He's mean, over the line into abusive, as the two kids watch from afar. It's Christmas Eve, and Della is out of wrapping paper, so she leaves her closed, gated neighborhood to go to the mall to buy some more. We see that her cell phone is low on power. Yep, you always got to get rid of that cell phone somehow.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
When Cassie calls and tells her the mall is crazy right now.
It's the mall on Christmas Eve.
It is
indeed
crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Everyone in town must be there, and the parking lot is full. The security guard recommends parking further out in those, the outlots. It's especially bad when she finds one jerk taking up 2 parking spaces. It's infuriating, so she writes a nasty note and leaves it on the windshield. Well, Della buys her wrapping paper, and the mall is packed on the inside as well. For some reason, her credit card is declined.
I was thinking about that. I think the reason is he put all their money in bad investments. That's what he was yakking about on the phone, and
Well, that's
why
what
he
I
was
thought
so
at the
ticked
time,
off.
yeah.
And I think there's no money in the account, and she doesn't know about that yet, how badly he has screwed up their finances.
Very possibly.
Yeah.
So anyway, she ends up paying cash. She's barely got enough in her purse to cover it. Did she run to a store later and couldn't buy something? I don't remember.
No,
Did the lack of cash
I don't think so. No,
didn't affect anything?
no, I think she had enough to cover it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When she gets back
But
to
she
her...
was kind of counting change. I think it was close.
Well, I thought they were
Yeah.
getting, she's completely broke and no credit cards for a purpose that would come up later, but I don't remember that being a thing.
No, I don't think so. No.
That's Chekhov's poverty.
No. I think it was. I think it was just a clue of.
Okay.
He really
The home life.
he has really screwed the family. Yeah.
Well, when she gets back to her car, she is surrounded by 4 young people who gang up on her and make threats. The leader's name is Chucky. Chucky is the guy who parked badly in the car she left a note on. The security guard comes to break up the problem, but Chucky shoots him in the head.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And if the parking lot was that full that she ended up parking at this place, where was everybody else?
Suddenly there was nobody there.
Suddenly
in
there's
that lot,
nobody
except
around.
for them. Yeah.
Della drives off, and Chucky and the boys follow her. They shoot at her car, and she tries to call the police, but her phone is dead. Did see that coming.
Yes.
She panics and drives into a construction site and crashes the car. Chucky's car also gets stuck, but they come after her on foot. Ving and Thomas want to turn around and go home, but Chucky is persuasive about tying up the loose end of Della. She saw them kill the guard. They find Della's car and abandoned purse. She did, however, manage to grab a toolbox. Still, they soon find her.
Now, did she find the toolbox in the construction stuff? She didn't get that from the car, did she? I thought she...
We saw her reaching into the trunk of the car. I was
Okay.
typing at the time. I don't know where the toolbox came from.
I'm not positive either because I had a lapse of attention. Anyway, she's got a toolbox full of tools.
Yeah.
And we find out what's in the toolbox.
Yeah, we do.
She puts them to good use.
More Home Alone, but in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're wearing way too much perfume if people can track you through the woods at night by following the smell.
Yeah, that's mentioned. Yeah.
Other than that, it's miraculous how well they can follow someone in the dark through the woods with no path.
That's a trope in movies sometimes.
These are not trained Native American trackers or famous hunters. These are just a bunch of kids.
And it's a big area of woods at night.
Yeah, I bet I could get away from these people in like 2 minutes with a 2-minute head start.
Mm-hmm. Most people
It's
could,
more,
yeah.
as you said, it's more thriller than horror. The line gets thin and blurry sometimes. The whole plot is kind of reminiscent of the non-Christmassy Eden Lake, which came out that same year. Might have been some influence there.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than the downer ending of that film, Della survives, learns from her ordeal, and uses it to improve her situation at home. I wish this had gone on for another 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Kim Basinger shows Terrified well, but other than that, she's pretty one-dimensional here as an abused mother and not much else.
Yeah, I thought everybody was good, but yeah, the characters were a little one-dimensional.
And why was Chucky wanting to kill everybody and beat so bad? And
'Cause that
why
was
was
his
the
dimension.
husband an abusive jerk? We don't know.
Because that was their dimension.
Yeah.
That's all we saw. Yeah.
Okay, as you said, all the characters seem to have one defining trait.
Who knew Christmas shopping could be so dangerous?
Well, it's not the shopping that did it.
Yeah.
It's the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah. The aftermath.
Yeah, if you're walking through a parking lot, you might get stuck in the heart with a piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd be in 2024's short film called Splinter. Written and directed by Curtis Matsky. Stars Mark Coulson, Jenna Paul, Rico Bruce Wade. 8 minutes, 21 seconds, and this is one you can watch on YouTube right now. What happens?
You know, Rico Bruce Wade is a guy from Lansing.
Oh, you know him?
I know of him.
Okay.
I never worked with him or really talked to him.
And who
but
is he? I'm guessing the doctor?
He was the doctor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A vampire has a splinter of wood embedded in their chest, and it's slowly working its way to his heart. There's a doctor and a woman standing at the doorway, just
they
like
both
this
know
is
all about vampires.
Like this is just a normal thing that is in this society. You know.
He mentions at some point it was a stupid accident, but we didn't get more details on that, did we?
No, we don't. Yeah.
Fell in his pencil or something.
Well, the doctor says invasive non-human surgery is prohibited due to possible infection. And the vampire's laying there in the hospital bed, prematurely aged due to his condition. Doctor explains what's going to happen to his patient. It's just a matter of time. Well, the vampire says this isn't how he pictured dying, but there's not much he can do, is there?
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. His good line here is, nothing is immortal.
Yeah, he's hundreds of years old, and he talks about others that he's known that, were hundreds of years old and then just poof, they die,
Yeah. It's really good. It's reasonable, understandable, and probably more dramatic than horrific. I was kind of expecting the girl vampire to turn on him or betray him or make some startling revelation, but no, nothing like that. Just a dramatic death.
And she's one that
he made, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly horrific. There's nothing particularly scary here, but it's a vampire story, so it fits. And yeah, I like this one a lot.
And did you catch that too with, he says, to her, do you know how old I am? And she said, no, you've never really said. I know you're at least 109, So that, or something like that, 100 and
That must
some.
be how old she
That
is.
must be how long it's been since she was made. Yeah. And he's like 400 and some, isn't he?
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
mentioned he looked like about 30 years old until this accident happened. He aged prematurely.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have Accidental Stars, another short film written and directed by Emily Bennett, stars Madeline Morell and Kyle Minshew. A little over 9 minutes. Of course, it's on YouTube also. And in this one, a woman wakes up and goes to the window. But then we see that she's really just playing a role in an acting class. The instructor, however, takes things very seriously. How much abuse is she willing to suffer to become a star? Oh, okay, now, it looks good, it sounds good, and it's nicely paced. Not quite sure what it's really about. David Lynch would be pleased with this one, but I'm a little less impressed.
Okay. Yeah.
Make it clearer what the story is even about.
I thought
I'm
it was cool.
assuming it's a metaphor for abuse or something?
Well, no, the actress, she has an explanation in her YouTube comments, actually, about it.
Oh, explain it to me.
Well, I don't know if I can adequately. But basically, when you're pushed so hard as an actor and so hard in a role where you're trying to be, what's the truth and what's you and what's the role, and it kind of causes a psychic break. And this is an extreme example of a psychic break, splitting, and
Well, most of those method actors are loonies.
She basically goes mad, basically is what they...
All right.
Yeah. But it was, I thought it looked really good. Yeah.
All right, next up we have one called Collection Day. Written and directed by Alan Reese Morgan, stars Thomas Gwynfrin, Stephen Evans, Olwen Mady, and Chris Woods. 12 minutes on YouTube, of course.
This was my favorite of the shorts this week.
Okay.
2 men respond to an ad for a free chair. One guy thinks the house looks sketchy, and it does, but the other really wants that chair. And there's only one little old lady inside, and she offers them tea. And there's nothing weird about that.
Oh, there's lots weird about that.
It gets weirder as it goes on.
And what surprises me about this one is how badly that guy wanted that ratty old chair.
He really wants that chair. Yeah.
It looked great. The special effects are gross and well crafted. The acting is both funny and believable. And the situation all makes sense as it unfolds. We both like this one a lot.
Yeah. Excellent.
I like this one. I like the Splinter. I like the fifth one we're going to do also.
Splinter was really nice.
We got some good ones this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, in this next one, Shut the Door at 10:04.
Shut the door.
This is such a good example of what you can do with nothing. I mean, it's just a guy in a room, in a house, with Post-it notes and some sound effects.
He probably did it on his phone.
And it is so effective and so good.
Written, directed, and stars Zachary Paget. And there's a voice of Elijah Palacios also. It's 5 minutes long and it's on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And as you said, it's one guy, one room. Not much to see, really.
Yeah.
But Jack runs home and hides in his bedroom just before his clock hits 10:04. We see Post-it notes explaining the rules. Close the door at 10:04. Safe to leave at 8:13. And some other reminders, such as, the sounds aren't real.
And that's one he should have paid more attention to.
He's safe in his room until the knocking starts. Will he open the door, or won't he? I mean, we read the rules. We know he shouldn't. Mm-hmm. We also know he's gonna.
Yeah, because it's a horror short.
Yeah, we don't know why any of this is happening or how Jack knows these rules, but we see the effect of breaking the rules and the tricks the enemy plays to get that door open. In short, it's got nearly zero budget and only one actor that we see. It's very well done. It gives a good sense of suspense and dread. Very good.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. All right, and I'm going to go so far as to say maybe this next one's my favorite of the week.
Okay, it was good.
We Joined a Cult. Written and directed by Chris McEnroy, stars Kirk Johnson, Carlos LaRota, Kyle Irion, Stephanie Vasquez Fonseca, and Matthew Thomas. It's a short one, too, only 4.5 minutes.
It seemed like a lot happened in that 4.5 minutes. A lot
did happen.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of guys go to the park to play a prearranged game of kickball. That doesn't go according to plan because the other team doesn't show up. Turns out it's recruitment day for the He Who Blows in the Wind cult. and the cultists are very persistent.
Sign here. Sign this.
Join us. It's awesome. It pokes fun at all the usual cultist tropes while still being familiar and fun. The two leads really carry the plot, and the whole thing is just one cult joke after another. You need more cult jokes.
Mm-hmm, we do. Yeah.
What did the cultists say to the kickball player? Join us.
Join us.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, it was.
All right, yeah, we had a bunch of good stuff this week. We liked Violent Night. We liked Sleigh Bells.
Good times.
While she was out, I'm going to say be kind of neutral about. I didn't hate it, but it was all right.
Yeah, it was okay.
And It Cuts Deep and Deathcember had their problems.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
All the shorts were good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand Accidental Stars so much, but it was well made.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're going to call that enough for this week.
When you check out, if you're listening and you check out the Accidental Stars, be sure to check out the comments.
Okay.
What she says in the comments. She has quite a long, well, not super long, but she has a bit of an explanation there.
All righty. Yeah. Well, that's it for this week. Stop in next week, and we will have 5 more Christmas movies and probably 5 shorts. I know one of those is going to be a Christmas-related short. I saw it today, and it was really good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
You haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
And, of course, Horror Monthly is out. Get issue number 39, which details all the stuff we watched last month. That kind of wraps up all the Halloween stuff. There's got Terrifier 3 and Smile 2 and all kinds of good stuff in there.
Terrifier 3 was a very Christmas movie.
It was. I would have liked to have waited it, but I thought it was more important to get it out early.
Uh-huh.
And that's it for this week. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.